Well, greetings again. This is Dr. Bill Wyatt with the American Orthodontic Society, and I want to talk to you about a very important case here, but it doesn't seem that people understand exactly what's going on. I've shown this case from start to finish earlier, and I didn't draw out this benefit that you get from doing this type of work where you remove lower 6-year molars down here, and you do a class 3 case with that, and you can actually do an upper jaw correction when you're doing that. And I want to bring that out this morning and show you how this works. And so this is what we call a double jaw result by removing the lower 6-year molars and correcting a class 3 case. So let's get started. I have a lady here that I worked on. It was about 30-something years ago when I did it, but we were showing her from the time we started in 1987. I saw her again after she had left and married and had a son, and her son was in my wife's Sunday school class, and he recognized who she was, and so we found her, and so we took these pictures that we have in 2010, and we started this case in 1987. Okay, well, let's get on with it. It's a drawn-out case, and this is not going to be a quickie thing, so if you're interested in just thumbing through. But if you're a class 3, if you do class 3 surgeries, or if you correct class 3 cases, you should really learn what we're doing in this particular case. Let me get going here. Here is the young lady. This is this is the 2nd of 87, and if you look at this case carefully, you will notice that the maxilla is not developed properly in here. The lower jaw is out too far, and what people make mistakes in, even old surgeons, they don't want to do a double jaw surgery, so they move the lower jaw back, and they don't bring the upper jaw forward in that case. And then the tongue, or whatever causes the class 3 to start with, actually they have many times they'll have to do the case over again, or else it will relapse quite a bit, because it will return similar to what it was, because they haven't got rid of the cause in there. So let's go on. You look at her from this direction, you can see a little deficiency in this portion of the facial structure right there. Now, here it looks fairly good from that standpoint, but you're showing her whole teeth. Now there, again, the deficiency shows up in that area. And when you look at her models, now this is in 1987, and this is a real class 3 case. This is a 6-year molar that's way out here. This molar should be back in this portion of it should be about along here. So it would come up something like that. So this molar is that much further forward than it should be. Like these teeth should be back underneath here. So we're going in and we're going to take the 6-year molars out on the tooth. And this is a hard thing for people to learn how to do, that to believe that they'll get it that way. Let's look at it from the other side. It's the same way. The lower 6-year molar is way up front, and you can see the wisdom teeth have come in. This is 1987. They are already in, see? And so now this is a wisdom tooth here that we're coming in. So we're going to slide these two teeth up to about here somewhere. And then we're going to bring these teeth back to some point where they come. Now here we're going to use about half of this space of this 6-year molar to put these teeth back, and we're going to pull them back by pulling with class 3 elastics up here. So we're moving the upper jaw forward at the same time we're moving the front teeth, all except we would carry all the front teeth back to where they fit up underneath here. And so this is where you do a double jaw correction. Now I have scrubbed in on cases where I worked with an old surgeon who let me come in and I helped out on some of the cases, or some of the case I've worked on. And it is a hairy thing to take the maxilla loose up here and shorten the vertical height of it, but that's what we did on the case. And so if you can avoid that by correcting it, by taking out the 6-year molar, this is a big benefit to people. I mean, the surgery for that, if you shorten the jaw here, you think, yeah, well, that's all we have to do, you shorten the jaw, and don't do this, then the thing will relapse on there. Now they will show this case, like 24 years later, and it had not relapsed. I could tell, but just a very small amount. All right, let's get going. It's a long way here. Now the upper jaw, we widened it out with this big daddy arch where we brought it out, like this, and we spread the jaw out, and you will see that later on. This is an 040 round wire we put in here, which we brought these out. Now this, you can expand these, it doesn't expand anything in the front, it just brings these teeth out. And then you got to put your rectangular arch in there and put buccal root torque on the arch, and then it carries the root and the crown out at the same time. You just put this big wire and pull the teeth out there, they're going to lean in and your roots would go in. So you have to bring the root out, and then you have to put something big to keep it from pushing the upper molars into a reverse torque in the upper molars and all those teeth. All right, let's get on with that. That's another subject here. Now on the bottom, we're going to take these teeth out, and we've got a tooth here that's turned sideways, and this tooth we're going to turn it around, and when you do, you're going to go through the bone structure a little bit, and you have to torque the root in to protect it, and this gets better as we go through the case. You will notice that as we spread this out. Now we'll spread that out. Now here is the cephalometric picture of when we, this is 1988, and you can say where the teeth were. This is and we have already taken out the 6-year molar in this part right in here. And I think my little pen has gone on the blink here. No. So the 6-year molar's out in this picture right here. All right, here is 1987, and that's where the chin button and everything is out where it was, and we bring that back in. Now, we were working on a lady that had periodontal disease, and the 6-year molars have a loss of bone structure. So taking the second molar, and taking out the 6-year molar had better bone structure than this did. So it was a little problem. The lady did not smoke, and if she had smoked, I wouldn't have been able to do this at all. But we took this out, we brought these teeth up to about here, and we brought the front teeth back to about along here, and in bringing these back, we carried the upper teeth in a forward direction here, like you were doing double jaw surgery in there. Now, here we'll follow this through. We went kind of slow, and you'll notice the bone structure as we pull the teeth in that direction. So now just remember, this is a wisdom tooth, and that's the second molar, and these are the anterior teeth here. This, both bicuspids and everything. We're going to bring them together, but we're going to bring this back, and as what pulls these teeth back, we're going to pull these upper teeth in a forward direction up here. And we use a lip bumper, which we will show later on. Now this case is complicated and heck, and a lot of dentists won't be able to realize this in there. So let's go on through these x-rays. This is 88. There we are in 19, I can't see the date on there, but this is later on down the line. And we're going to gradually move those teeth up until 19, that's January of 91, I believe that's we've got the teeth up there. That's several years that we've been in here. I had to slow down because of the periodontal situation. You'll notice this tooth will go, we'll bring it together and keep the bone structure that it has. Now we expanded this tooth here, and you turn a flat tooth around down here. There's no way you can keep them stripping this tooth a little bit. All right. We're going ahead here now. We're lining this upper up, and we came in and we put a large arch wire in that and expanded it better. So this is beginning to show here. It looks better in this picture. Here we, with the teeth, showing all the teeth same way. Now we're turning this tooth around and opening this gap in here. Now here we're pulling back on these teeth here, and we're pulling these teeth forward. We're using elastic chain here for doing some of this in class 3 elastics. Now we pull this, put something in both sides like this. We would pull these teeth together. We pull these back, and when we got these up where we wanted them, then we have to come in with class 3 elastics and pull the rest of it back, and you pull the upper teeth forward with that to finish up closing the space. Now here we're using a large arch wire to expand the upper arch so it would fit. You'll notice when we started, the upper arch was smaller than the lower arch, so we widen the upper arch up as we go along, and we'll bring that together. So you can see that in there. And show you the width of the arch when we started off right in here. Now this tooth is turned around completely, but we got some loss in there. So you have to torque this tooth back. It'll bring the root in further like that. But you lose something in doing that, the attachment. All right, we're going to continue this. We've got the upper arch widened out now, and we're continuing to go through with this. And I'm going to show these pictures, one against the other teeth as we go through here. Now, this time she put on a little bit of weight, and you can tell the difference in it. And then we have our teeth lined up pretty good here. In other words, we've got the upper teeth now out in front of the lower teeth. and you'll notice that we've got a lip bumper in here. When you're running these teeth forward and you've got thin tissue up there, you put a lip bumper in the upper arch, and you expand the lip bumper and keep the pressure off of the tissue in here, so you can get a soft tissue layer when you're moving the tooth forward, and the bone will form and go along with the teeth. You move that out like that. So we run interference for it with a lip bumper in this. And now I'll show you. We get here. Here's the lip bumper. We've expanded this loop a good bit as we brought these teeth forward. We had to increase the distance between the back of the lip bumper. You don't want the lip bumper to touch the tissue. You just want it to push and keep all the force off of the gum tissue over the roots of the teeth, so that the roots can go out and the bone structure goes with them like that. And there the lip bumper is again, and you can see this U right in here was probably something like that, and we've expanded it, and it's pushing in this direction. And then we're pulling from here down to here, and we're pulling all the teeth in a forward direction. So we're going to do double jaw correction by just taking the lower 6-year molars out, if you know how to do this. All right, this is 89, level of 89, and we've expanded the upper jaw, and we're bringing the teeth together now. We've got the second, this is the second molar and the wisdom tooth back in here. And this is, I can't tell the date on that. All right, now we're in 1990, so from 87 to 90. So we worked on this young lady for about 3 years, something where in that neighborhood. Now the lower 6-year molar and the bicuspids are together again, except these teeth are back from where they were way out here. They're come back, so we pulled them back by pulling off the molars up above. In other words, we pull these teeth forward and pull these backward down here, and that brought this back in, and I'll show that on itself and when we get through. Now here we finished up, and this is 91 or something like that. Finish the upper. So we've got it a retainer on the upper teeth. We go ahead and finish the lower teeth. We put a bite plate to keep the teeth from deepening any further in there. This is 1991. So we started in 87, and we pretty well finished it up in 91. And there's the lower arch. In 91, we'll take it out. And here is the facial structure in 1991, and it's filled out better in the front. So you can see this has a little better position in there in the facial structure. And now the smile is something like that. Here it is in 91, and there it was in 87, 2 of 87. So we've finished that, and we're wearing a lower retainer. This tooth has gotten better right in there too. Now, from the side, we took this out. We moved these up to about here, and we moved these back to that much. We pulled them back by pulling forward on these teeth here. And you can't recognize that, but these teeth are out further. This cuspid tooth here is coming right down in the line right there. And you can see this is the central, lateral, and cuspid. And the cuspid was right on top of this. Now, this cuspid is headed into this groove right here now. See it pull this back. So the lower cuspid and the uppercuts would fit together correctly. Now this is a double jaw correction by working on the lower jaw by taking the 6-year molars out. And you can prevent a lot of class 3 correction, and double jaw surgery is extremely expensive, and it's very even dangerous to take the whole maxilla loose and shorten it, and then lengthen the lower or shorten the lower jaw. So this is a big saving to people if they do this way. But I've been lecturing on this and showing it for 40 years, and it doesn't catch on. People don't understand that. So here it is, 1991, right there, and this is 87. Okay, and we pulled these teeth are back a long way. We do about half the space of bringing the bottom teeth back. We brought these forward about half, not quite half of this, and show that. Now here, the upper, we widened it, and you can tell the width between the molars right here is different. We did the Big Daddy to widen that. If you look at it, models, the upper was smaller than the bottom arch. And here you can see this is the bottom arch, and we have widened the bottom arch and widened the upper arch more to get over it. This is 91, and that's when this is the second and third molars are up here now. Now this is adult orthodontics, but these are things that you can do orthodontically, and I want people to learn how to do this and everything. So here is the facial structure of this lady after 20, let's see, I think this is 2010. This is the same lady, and I know this lady and her family and everything. They're in another town, but she's a good friend of people here in Glen Rose, and I can get her back and show her to you another 13 years later in here, and she's still lined up like this. So here's those teeth. This is 23 years after we started the case, and there's her front teeth like that, and there's the facial profile view right there. Now there we are with the case. This is 20 some odd years later, and it's got a little plaque in here. This is that tooth that was in bad shape, but it's doing pretty good. We torque the root back in on it. And there it is again. Excuse me. She needs to go in and have the teeth scaled. She's got some calculus around those teeth. But that's where it is in 2010. All right, I'm going to show them compared against one another here in just a minute. All right, here is the cephalometric picture where this is 2010 right there, January 7th, 2010. And you look at where this did not move back as we move these teeth forward. This portion did not move back. So we're going to show you. All right, now this is, I think this is 2010, yes. And these are, here is the tooth that was periodontally involved, and she took good care of it. And that's 23 years later, it's still there, and we moved it from here up to here, right there. All right, here's 2010, and it's compared with 2010. Here's 2010 right here, and this was 2 of 87 right there. And we took this out, we moved this back to about here somewhere, and moved these teeth forward to about there. And you see where this has slipped a little bit since we finished, because we had this further out here. But so we lost a little of it. The upper wisdom tooth is coming down, it doesn't touch enough to really support it there. Looking at the front, the same thing. These teeth were out. These have come forward. These have gone backward. And we close that space back up that way. Looking at it from this side, you can see where it is back in a class 1 relation, and the cuspid tooth, that this is the cuspid coming down here. Here's the cuspid over here. This cuspid is coming right down in that gap. So this is moved back, and this moved forward to bring the cuspid down in the space where it is. And we've got a little bit of space opened up right there. And the wisdom tooth up above came down but couldn't catch. So you may lose it, but if something went wrong with one of these, you could still raise this and bring it forward and close that up. Now this is the upper arch, and we have widened it out in here, and you can tell there's a wider distance from here to here on these two arches right here. That's 1987 and 2010. This is the lower arch, like that. Now, here again, the pagonian of the bone structure did not move back as we moved this, but we brought these teeth from here and brought them back there. And then that left this sticking out. So if you move these teeth back here, you'd have this much. We thought we might have to come in here and do a genioplasty, but it looked good on her, and so we did not have to do that. So if you look at the profile here, this is okay, even though this is further out than it normally would be. You get a difference in the filling out of the facial structure in this area right here. So this is 23 years later, right there. There we are, 23 years later. The facial height, this is good. Same thing, we reduced that a little bit. And there the teeth are 23 years later. So what we're showing here, that if people learn how to correct class 3 malocclusion by sacrificing 6-year molars here, and I've got a bunch of other cases that we've done that, you can actually correct the upper jaw by using about half the space to bring the back teeth forward, and then the other part you pull these teeth forward to bring this back. Many class 3s, you need to correct the upper, and I know some oral surgeons who won't do the single jaw surgery. They push the upper jaw forward and they bring the lower jaw back to a person like this, and that leaves room in there. Now you have to wear retention for it. But I thank you for watching. This was a long, drawn-out video, but this is a very important video, and people need to know that you can correct some pretty bad class 3 cases simply by taking the lower 6-year molars out. Take these teeth back part of the way, pull these up the rest of the way, pull with class 3 elastics, and move these teeth back, bring your upper jaw forward. Out here and it does a similar thing it does if you go in and section this whole maxilla off and go through this tremendous surgery to correct it. And this actually works. And I've been talking about it for years now, and there's very few people are doing it. So this is something that ought to be seen and taken care of. And I don't want to fuss at people doing orthodontics. They've been taught that you can't do that, but you can. And so I'm going to hush, and I hope somebody is sharp enough in this to understand what we're doing here. And this is something that it's adult orthodontics, and it's something that people are just shunned away from in the orthodontic departments all over the country. And I know that's kind of the way it is where I went to school. So I'm going to say goodbye, but I hope you take this to heart and see just what we did here for this lady. Thank you for watching, and I'm going to sign off here.